Arthur Vance sat in the back of a rusted 2005 sedan he'd rented specifically for this trip. He wore a flannel shirt that smelled of mothballs and a pair of work boots scuffed at the toes. To anyone passing by, he was just another retiree struggling to make ends meet in a world that had moved on without him. In reality, Arthur was the founder of Vance Global, a man whose net worth exceeded the GDP of several small nations. But Arthur was also a man who had just been handed a medical diagnosis that gave him 6 months to live. He had no children, his ex-wife had passed years ago, and his board of directors were already circling like vultures, waiting for his seat to get cold. He needed an heir, not someone with a degree from Harvard, but someone with a soul that hadn't been corrupted by the pursuit of more. He walked into the Silver Lining, a roadside diner tucked away in a town so small it didn't have a stoplight. The air was thick with the scent of grease and maple syrup. At the counter sat Clara, a woman in her late 20s with her hair pulled back in a messy bun. Her apron was stained, and there were dark circles under her eyes that told a story of sleepless nights. Arthur took a seat at a wobbly corner table. He watched as Clara navigated a room full of rowdy truckers and complaining tourists. She didn't just take orders, she listened. She laughed with an elderly regular who told the same joke twice, and she patiently guided a toddler back to his parents when he wandered off. When Clara finally made it to Arthur's table, she didn't rush him. She saw a man who looked lonely. "Rough day, sugar?" she asked, setting down a glass of ice water. Arthur looked up, surprised by the genuine softness in her voice. "Just a long road," he replied. He ordered the cheapest thing on the menu, a bowl of oatmeal and black coffee. Throughout the meal, Arthur played the part of a difficult customer. He complained about the coffee being too hot, then too cold. He dropped his spoon 3 times. He even accidentally knocked over a sugar shaker. Each time, Clara responded with a smile and a "no worries at all." She didn't see a nuisance, she saw someone who might just be having the worst day of his life. As Arthur finished his meal, he pulled out his wallet. It was a cheap, Velcro thing he bought at a gas station. He laid down a $10 bill for the meal and then, with a calculated hesitation, placed a single $5 bill on the table as a tip. In a town where people usually left 20%, a $5 tip on a long, demanding service was almost an insult. He waited, watching her out of the corner of his eye as he put on his jacket. Clara walked over to clear the table. She saw the $5. Arthur braced himself for the sigh, the eye roll, or the muttered complaint he'd heard in 100 high-end restaurants. Instead, Clara picked up the $5 bill and clutched it to her chest. She took a deep breath, and Arthur saw a single tear track through the flour on her cheek. She didn't know he was watching. She hurried over to the cashier, a woman named Martha. "Look," Clara whispered, her voice trembling with relief. "This is it. This is the last $5 I needed for the bus ticket to the specialist in the city. Bobby can go now. We don't have to wait until next month." Arthur felt a physical pang in his chest. He realized that while he was testing her character, she was fighting for her son's life. His small test was her big miracle. Arthur didn't leave. He sat back down. "Excuse me, miss," he called out. Clara wiped her eyes quickly and hurried back, looking worried she'd done something wrong. "Is everything okay, sir? Do you need a refill?" Arthur looked her in the eyes, his billionaire persona stripped away. "I couldn't help but overhear." "Who is Bobby?" Clara hesitated, then the words spilled out. Her 4-year-old son had a heart murmur that required a specific surgery only available at a university hospital 3 hours away. She'd been saving pennies for months just to afford the travel and the consultation fee. She worked doubles, walked to work to save gas, and skipped meals. Arthur stayed for 3 hours. He didn't tell her who he was. He just listened. He learned that Clara had been an art student before her parents died, leaving her with a mountain of debt and a younger brother to raise. He learned that she still painted at night by the light of a single lamp after Bobby went to sleep. He saw a woman who had been crushed by life but refused to break. When Arthur finally left, he didn't leave another tip. He left a note on a napkin: "Wait for the rain to stop. The sun is coming." Clara found it confusing, but she tucked it into her pocket as a lucky charm. A week later, a team of lawyers in charcoal suits walked into the Silver Lining. The diner went silent. They asked for Clara Jenkins. Martha, the owner, stepped forward, defensive of her best worker. "She didn't do anything wrong," Martha barked. The head lawyer, a man named Mr. Henderson, smiled gently. "Quite the opposite. We are here on behalf of the estate of Arthur Vance." Clara stepped out from the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron. Arthur? The man from last week? Henderson nodded. Mr. Vance passed away 3 days ago. But before he did, he made a final amendment to his will. One that our firm has never seen in 50 years of practice. The entire town seemed to lean in as Henderson opened a briefcase. Mr. Vance has left his entire private residence, a portfolio of diversified stocks valued at $600 million, and the Vance Educational Trust to you, Clara, and your son, Robert. The diner was so quiet you could hear the hum of the refrigerator. Clara shook her head, backed away, and hit the counter. That's a mistake. I only served him oatmeal. I only gave him a cup of coffee. I didn't do anything. Henderson reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, laminated $5 bill. He told me to give you this back. He said you earned it not by what you did, but by who you stayed when you thought no one was looking. The resolution wasn't just about the money. Arthur's will had a condition. Clara had to use a portion of the funds to open a community art center in the town, ensuring that no one else would ever have to choose between a bus ticket and a meal. Clara's life transformed, but she didn't change. She paid for Bobby's surgery, and today he is a healthy teenager. She built that art center, and on the front gates, there is a bronze plaque with an image of a $5 bill. Underneath it, the words read, "The value of a gift is not in its size, but in the heart of the one who receives it." Arthur Vance started that day looking for an heir to his fortune, but he ended up finding something much more valuable, a reason to believe that the world was still good. He died knowing his legacy wasn't in buildings or bank accounts, but in the hands of a woman who knew that $5 could be a miracle. We often spend our lives waiting for the big moments to show who we are, but the truth is, our destiny is written in the small things. It's written in how we treat the stranger, how we handle the small tips, and how we keep our light shining when the world tries to blow it out. Your character is your true currency. Spend it wisely.